praises to the Most High for that song, Yeshua HaMashiach. Okay, we are returning to the broadcast. Had some serious technical difficulties, but we are back. Well, then you know it must be on point to talk about what we're going to talk about today. Welcome to Blueprint for Life, you on YouTube as well. I am V, the preacher. This is a day that the Most High has made, and we rejoice in all that He is doing for Israel and for us today. See if I can adjust the lighting. I see it's really dark, but I think that's all we're going to be able to get for today. So just kind of bear with me. Today I want to have a conversation with you about this, the intensity and the randomness of what people are calling shooting stars, falling stars. They even came out with a movie, LeBron James, called Shooting Stars. And I'm going to come from the scripture and then have a little discussion about it as well. And then we're going to get into Isaiah, the 13th chapter. We are live on Blog Talk as well. Started over there with the reading of the law. And of course, we went to Leviticus 18 today because this is Pride Goeth Before Fall month. So we had to go there to establish that we're taking back everything that Hashatan is trying to steal. He is the ruler of all things. It's interesting, we're going to Isaiah 13, but we see in Isaiah 14 what Hashatan is attempting to do, which is when he said in 14:14, I will ascend above the heights of the clouds and be like the Most High. And that's about as far as he's going to go. Let me set a foundation, a substratum for what I'm getting ready to go into with these fallen angels, shooting stars, falling stars. Is there any similarity? Is there any precedence for this? What I want to go into first is the conversation that many of us have been talking about, the second Exodus and going into the wilderness. And I don't think many of us understand, because we're going to talk about the judgments of Babylon, but Yasharah will be going into judgment in the wilderness. The wilderness, the judgment for the wilderness for Israel is much more intense because he's going to purge out the rebels from amongst us. And we have many that are, who are those rebels? I would pretty much easily say the ones that are rebelling against the statutes, laws, and commandments right now. And I had a conversation with certain people about the fact that our culture is indicative of our faith. And even Rudolph Windsor spoke on this. He said that that as well, if we were to get away from our cultural habits of even head coverings, how we dress, and take on and assimilate into the captivities of the different nations, we would forget our culture, hence forget our spirituality and religion, which is a part of our going to sleep and a part of the awakening. We forgot who we were. And with knowing who you are, there comes some regalness, royalty, and some change of conduct. How you present yourself. Even Islam and the Arabs know this when they have their women walking around in burqas and head coverings, and they've got their faces covered up because they say everything about me is strictly for my husband. But we can't come into that kind of order. Listen, in the first Exodus in the wilderness, there were 7 rebellions. 7 rebellions. And there were like over 2 million people that didn't make it in from that generation. The only ones that made it in were Joshua and Caleb. And the children of the people who came out of Egypt, he purged out over 2 million people. The Bible tells us in Exodus 19, no, not 19:6, I'm sorry. The Bible tells us that there were over 600,000 men, Exodus 37:38, about 605,000 men of fighting age that came out of Egypt. And when they came out of Mitzrayim, there were wives, there were strangers, there were children. Altogether, there were over close to about 2 million people, which is why it was important for Moses to have 70 elders to help him to have rulership. That's a page that a lot of you so-called mores and teachers and pastors, you can take a page out of that book. When you have people, you need help, elders. There should be accountability, and there should be checks and balances. You are not a one-man show, and it's not a one-man rodeo. The thing I want you to see is 2 million not making it in, including the leader, Moshe, because of what he did. The reason we're practicing the holy days and our dress and our culture and our submission and our obedience to the order of 1 Corinthians 11, we're preparing ourselves for the wilderness because we don't want to be rebellious and not come out and see the promised land that he has for us. Yashara. Go back and read Rudolph Windsor, Babylon to Timbuktu, around page 123 to 128, and he elaborates more on the fact that we have to become a set-apart people that carry themselves in a different manner. When you come into the truth, you don't have the luxury of standing your feelings. If you hear someone always stand in their feelings, it's possible they're dealing with a demon spirit that's oppressing them and keeping them in a stagnant position, and we coddle them and succor the demons and make them feel okay. We get away from Ezekiel that tells us, you better get the blood off your hands and let someone know when he's in sin. Because Isaiah 58 says, lift up your voice like a trumpet in Zion and show my people their transgressions. Excuse me. I'm trying to help you and save your life if I tell you about yourself and tell you you're not right. And if you get offended and you don't want to hear it, it's because you want to hold on to your sins. And you want attention, a pity party, because of the PTSD that we all have gone through with what we've gone through as a nation of people. Let me say this, that in the beginning in Exodus 19 and 5 and 6, the Most High had ordained for us to be a nation of priests. Every one of us, just like in Deuteronomy 28, he gave us blessings or curses. So it was contingent in Deuteronomy 28 and Exodus 19, 5 and 6. There were contingencies. Don't look over it. We could have altered our course on each occasion. But let me speak about Exodus 19, 5 and 6. The original idea that Yah had was to make us a nation of priests. Every one of those persons, all 2 million of them, would have been priests. That's where we are now with the order of Melchizedek. But when he went up to get the moral commandments, the commandments of morality, when he came back, he found out he had to write a book of laws because the people had gotten beside themselves. So he could only choose from one tribe, the Levites, a nation, to be priests and to put them in check by giving them laws such as Leviticus 18 to tell them how not to have sex with everything and everybody. They had to have civil laws, dietary laws, moral laws. This is what it had to go into because he could not establish the original order he wanted to establish because the contingencies we failed as a nation of people. So we have to walk worthy of this call because we are the ones that were given the oracles. And I say all that to say that we're talking about the wilderness, but we're going to find out that the wilderness is really, and I just wrote a song about that. Stay on the lookout for the Jazz of Judah Part 2. We're going to find out that the wilderness is really a time before we come out of this final captivity to chastise us for the last time and to see who deserves to go on this 1,000-year vacation. Who really deserves to go? You need to be working on yourself right now. That's a lot of people to not make it in. That's a lot of people to have gone into the wilderness. That is quite a bit. And I think we as teachers and preachers, we don't put the emphasis on that and how serious that is. So I wanted to say that before we get into Isaiah the 13th chapter and talk about Babylon. But before we go there, I know your interest is in these falling stars and shooting stars. So I'm going to go to the Testament of Solomon. I want you, if you can pull up the Testament of Solomon. I'm not going to read too much of it. I just have about 3 or 4 verses that I want to read out of it. Now, I want you to pay close attention to this. The reason I want you to hear this closely is because this world is trying to set you up for an alien invasion, and they want you to believe that meteorites and stars are falling from the earth and that satellites are falling, space junk. And they want to continue the narrative of the cosmology of the earth And I recommend a gentleman by the name of Zen Garcia, who's written a couple of books on the cosmology of the flat Earth, which is a circle and is enshrouded by the firmament. And in the center of this plate is what we call the North Pole, which are the sides of the north where there is Mount Meru. The north that your compass points to all the time is that center of the Earth. There is no South Pole. We are enshrouded by an ice capsule that keeps you from getting to the edge of the firmament. So you won't fall off. In the book, there's even talk about how he commanded the sands to stop the sea and they must obey. When you start to understand how the luminaries were created, you realize that the luminaries function like angels and they can be chastised. They have an assignment and a job. Luminaries being sun, moon, and stars. That's the only thing that's moving. The sun and moon through the portals and the constellations and stars, so-called planets, are moving around in circles, not the Earth. Excuse me. That name of that dog is Judah. So, help you to understand why he has to interject. So what I want you to see, and this is something what I'm going to read that they know is coming out of the sky. Hence, your crop circles, cities, towns burning, some people transforming themselves after they've fallen into what you would call celebrities. Yes, exactly. Let me not delay anymore. Verse 113. And when they were gone, this is Solomon, I ordered Orneus to be brought forth and said to him, tell me how you know this. And he answered this. You have to remember, Solomon had control of the demons. He had a signet ring, and they helped him to build the temple. You find that in other books of Solomon that you can read. Let me continue. Bear with me. Give me 1 second. Okay, let me continue. Tell me how you know this. Solomon talking to one of the demons named Orneus. And he said this, pay close attention. We demons ascend into the firmament of heaven and fly about among the stars. The furthest these demons, these fallen angels, Satan and the 1/3 of the fallen angels can go is to the top of the firmament. There are 7 layers, and I'll just give you a rough overview. Below the flat earth, there's 7 layers, 7 realms. Then there's 7 layers to the earth, up to the sky, to the firmament. And then above the firmament are the 7 expanses of heaven that no man can get to. And at the 7th expanse is the throne of the Most High Yah. So the furthest these demons can go, because this is a prison planet for them and for us, is to the firmament and back. We must fulfill our lifetime and destiny here on the earth. And in doing so, the only way we can escape the firmament is in body, soul, and spirit, where that angel that is with you every day comes back to take you to before the Most High to go for judgment, and where you will wait in the 3rd expanse, paradise, or wait in hell until the final judgment. And then your body, when Christ returns, Yeshua HaMashiach returns, your body, which went back into the earth, will rise, meet him at that 1st expanse of the firmament, only to destroy the rest of the earth. Many of us will be chambered away because the earth has to be purged before we go into the new millennial reign for 1,000 years, which is what this is talking about. But just let me be clear. Let me go back, because I want to help debunk and kill what they're getting ready to come up with on this earth, because they have holograms. Satan has his fake spaceships. They're trying to imitate the Most High Yah, and they want you to think that there's something out there. The only thing out there that's coming is what's in the 7 heavens above the firmament, and that's the return of our Savior, Yeshua HaMashiach, to get his people and a small remnant of those that are grafted in. He said, once again, we demons ascend into the firmament of heaven and fly about among the stars, which go forth upon the souls of men. Forthwith we come, and whether by force of influence, or by fire, or by sword, or by some accident, we veil our act of destruction. And if a man does not die by some untimely disaster or by violence, then we demons transform ourselves in such a way as to appear to men and be worshiped in our human nature. I hope you took that in, and I don't think you took it in. The furthest they can go is to the firmament. And he said that they go up to the firmament so they can hear the sentences, what men are saying in the earth, and our prayers to the Most High Yah. And then they come by force when they hear what you're saying, or what you're lusting for, craving for: fame, fortune, money, flesh, pride of life. By force, influence, or by fire, or by sword, or by some accident. And we veil. This is what Satan does. We veil, we hide our acts of destruction, because Satan comes to rob, kill, and destroy. And if a man doesn't die by some untimely disaster, by the hands of Satan, the working of Satan, or by violence, the violence that's in the earth now, people randomly arguing and pulling out guns and just taking somebody's life based on an argument about a parking spot or something stupid, then we demons, listen to what they'll do outside of the things I just mentioned. We transform ourselves in such a way as to appear to men and be worshipped in our human nature. Those are your celebrities that's talking about. Those are people you look up to and call them icons and idols. They said they transformed themselves. And this is what the scripture meant when it said, be careful how you entertain angels, because some have entertained angels unaware. Because the fallen angels will come back down. So when you see shooting stars, know that someone's coming to visit the earth and transform themselves and provide information about technology. Where we are in the era of technology and artificial intelligence, which is nothing but demonic influence and demonic spirits speaking through the computers, is trying to take over. It's all set to go. Let me continue. We transform ourselves in such a way as to appear to men and be worshipped in our human nature. I, therefore, having heard this, glorified the Most High Yah. And again, I questioned the demon, saying, tell me, how can you ascend into heaven, being demons, and amidst the stars and holy angels intermingle? He's asking a question. How is it that you can go up to that level of the firmament and be able to intermingle in the atmosphere in that area amongst the angels? What does that mean? Go listen in my archives about the order of the angels and the order of the hours. At that first level of the firmament, there's fighting amongst the demons, and the angels are up there too at that level. You got to remember there's 7 expanses above the firmament, and that firmament being the first expanse. And then it continues, because the angels are trying to see if they can hear what's happening in the 7 expanses of heaven. So go back and listen to that. So they're at the top plane of the firmament. And he answered, because there's fighting in the firmament amongst the holy angels that are at that level. Because don't forget, we have angels that we entertain that are from the Most High Yah, that are over us and watching over us. Tell me how you can ascend into heaven, being demons. And he said, just as things are fulfilled in heaven, so also on earth are fulfilled the types, one of all of them. For there are principalities, authorities, world rulers, and we demons fly about in the air, and we hear the voices of the heavenly beings and survey all the powers. So Satan is trying to create intel in the heavens, and listen to this intel and pay attention to it. So listen to this part closely. While he's up there trying to get intel of what's happening with Yah and the holy angels and with us on the earth, and as having no ground, no basis on which to rest while they're up there floating around, we lose strength and fall off like leaves from trees. And men seeing us imagine that the stars are falling from heaven. There you have it. These demons do not have the power they once had. They were cast out of the heavens. And I believe till this day, there are angels that in their disobedience to Yah that can be kicked out of heaven. But the majority of the falling stars we see is spoken of right here in the Testament of Solomon. And I'll read it again. We hear the voices of the heavenly beings up near the firmament. We survey all the powers to see what's going on in the earth, because remember, Satan and his angels want to be like Yah, who's omniscient and omnipotent. But then he goes on to say, and having no ground, after a while, they get tired of flying up there. They get tired. We lose our strength and we fall like leaves from trees. And the men, us on the earth that see us, imagine that they are falling stars and falling from heaven. How many times when you were a kid, they used to tell you need to make a wish on a falling star? Don't wish on no demon again falling. What you're witnessing is that you were once gods, the scripture said that, but you will die like men. These angels that have been cast to the earth, it says that they become opaque after 8 days. They lose their regal and godly form. They do not have that same, everything changes about a fallen angel. They become reptilian. They have to live amongst us. And they always find themselves in positions of power and authority. And you have to remember that we don't know the exact number that Satan took with him, a third of the angels, but there's a ton of them down here that fly in the atmosphere. This is why you've got them creating Space Force, et cetera, et cetera. This is why they're trying to plant, Satan said that I shall ascend above the heights of the clouds and I will be like the Most High. He's trying to say I'm going to get past the firmament. And then if you notice, when Satan speaks about the sides of the north in trying to be like the Most High in Isaiah 14 and 15 and 16, he's talking about the center point of the earth, which is where the vision of Jacob had of Jacob's ladder, because there are portals. The North Star, Sirius, is at the highest height of the North Pole, and it's where Sirius doesn't move. You can see this if you were somewhere where you could see the stars at night. The North Star is fixed because there's a portal there which is guarded by angels that demons can't get through, and he knows that there's an opening right there, and they want to see if they can get through, but it's guarded. This is why these fallen angels constantly go up into that area to try and be up there. So, brothers and sisters, when the Bible tells you to be careful how you entertain strangers, because some have entertained angels unaware, it can be holy angels, but more than likely it can be the fallen angels, which are demonic spirits on the earth. Let me read the rest of this. But it is not really so, O king, but we fall because of our weakness and because we have nowhere anything to lay hold of. And so we fall down like lightnings in the depth of the night, and suddenly, and we set cities in flames and fire. The fields we set on fire. I remember not too long ago in Russia when they said a comet came through and it blew up some buildings and caused a fire, and they sent out the jets immediately. They knew that was enemy fallen angels. These countries know that there's principalities out here that we're fighting with. They know that the aliens that they're telling everybody's coming through the sky, which they are not, already exist and are here and make assaults on the people. Star Wars exists. We set cities in flames and fire and fields, for the stars have firm foundations. They don't fall in the heavens like the sun and the moon. But the demon spirits, fallen angels, fall down all the time and they shoot like stars. All right, give me 1 second. We're going to take a break. Quick break, and then we're going to get into Isaiah, the 13th chapter. This is one book that I highly recommend. I don't know if you can see it. And it speaks on the cosmology of the earth. All right, I hope you got that. May not have been the big finale you wanted, but at least now you know falling stars are not something that's coming from outer space. comets, space junk, wormwood, Nibiru. It's all a lie. It's all a lie. The only thing coming through that firmament is when the Most High cracks the firmament, it rolls up like a scroll, and here comes hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of angels, warring angels, an angry black Messiah with a sword in his hand, ready to get some blood. And we, which are alive, obedient, and in order, awaiting him, the saints patiently waiting, keeping the commandments, will be transformed to look just like them, and will go to fighting and open up a can of whoop you know what, and tear this wicked planet apart, asunder. Demons will flee, because as they said to Christ in the garden, when the man was cutting himself, hast thou come to torment us before our time? That's going to be the time. Yes, we're here to get hold, to lay hands on y'all. And that's the end. With that being said, let's talk about the judgment of Babylon before we close out. And I'm just going to do a reading on this. We're going to do a treatise, a breakdown on this, but we may throw out a few precepts, but I want you to hear the powerfulness of Isaiah, the 13th chapter. Starting at the first verse, the burden of Babylon, which Isaiah the son of Amos did see. Lift ye up a banner upon the high mountain, exalt the voice unto them, shake the hand that they may go into the gates of the nobles. I have commanded my sanctified ones, I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, them that rejoice in my highness. That right there was what I just got through saying. I'm going to read it again. Isaiah 13:3. I have commanded my sanctified ones, that's the Kodesh people, the set apart people, the obedient people. I have also called my mighty ones for mine anger, even them that rejoice in my highness. Verse 4. The noise of a multitude in the mountains, like as of a great people of tumultuous noise of the kingdoms of nations, will be gathered together. The Lord of hosts mustereth the host of the battle. That's Yahweh Sabaoth. Verse 5. They came from a far country, from the end of heaven, even the Most High, and the weapons of his indignation to destroy the whole land. How ye, for the day of the Lord is at hand. It shall come as a destruction from the Almighty. Therefore shall all hands be faint, and every man's heart shall be melt, and they shall be afraid. Let me pause. This is the whole buildup of making you believe, from all the alien movies you used to watch, especially the one with Will Smith, which started this a lot, which was Independence Day with Will Smith, that something was coming. You've been preconditioned to believe when that sky cracks, you're going to immediately go into fear because of all these movies you've watched. You've been preconditioned. I digress. Verse 8, and they shall be afraid. Pains and sorrows shall take hold of them, and they shall be in pain as a woman that travaileth. They shall be amazed one at another, and their faces shall be as flames. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. All the mountains, all the buildings, all the bridges, all the Mount Rushmores are coming down. There's getting ready to be a purging of the earth. We have already been stored away in the wilderness, and some have been, well, that's another lesson you can see in the archives. I'm not going to go into that. Verse 9, behold, the day of the Lord cometh cruel, but with wrath, and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. Let's clarify. Who was that? 1 John 3:4. Sin is transgression of the law. Every aspect and component of the law that you don't want to obey, or say that you don't have to do, you don't have to keep, even the Sabbath, even honoring your parents, idolatry, covetousness, gossiping, not honoring his divine order. 1 Corinthians 11, because the spirit of Jezebel is on you. So you don't want to fall up under the order of a holy Kodesh man. There's destruction. This destruction is fierce and intense, people. There'll be no more vacationing in the sun. This is real. If you don't believe this, what are you kidding yourself? What are you doing with your walk? Why are you in the truth? If you're holding on to the world, and he said, come out of her, my people, and separate yourself. This coming destruction is nothing to play with. Let's look at verse 10, because it ties into the falling stars we just read. I'm getting ready to destroy the sinners, verse 9. Verse 10 says, for the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. The sun shall be darkened in his going forth, and the moon shall not cause her light to shine. These are all luminaries that were created on the fourth day. This is why you've got China trying to create a false sun and moon, because they understand this prophecy shall be fulfilled. The stars are not going to give their light, because the stars that are fixed, that don't fall when they're in the firmament, the Most High has them placed, they don't move. Only the demons fall to the earth at night when you're sleeping. These stars are going to come back, and this is what's going to cause fire and set fire, because if you read in the Chronicles of Jeremiah about the fourth day, it tells you that lightnings, fire, and water are within these circles that we call stars. There's a description of what a star is made up of. I recommend that book once again, so you can find the scriptures and the writings that have been hidden from you to tell you the truth about what's up there. The Most High does not need man's inventions to purge the earth with fire. He's going to drop the stars. For the stars of heaven and the constellations thereof shall not give their light. Verse 11, and I will punish the world for their evil, for their pride days, for their turning their back on God and satanic worship, and their sexual sins and their perversion. I will punish the world for their evil and the wicked for their iniquity. And I will cause the arrogancy of the proud, pride, to cease, and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Verse 12, I will make a man more precious than fine gold. Right here, he's talking about the men that are commandment keepers, the men of Israel. There'll only be a few. I will make a man more precious than fine gold, even a man than the golden wedge of Ophir, because there won't be many left. Therefore, I will shake the heavens, and the earth shall remove out of her place. Why? Because it's fixed on a foundation. It's a flat, circular sphere, a plate with four foundations, which represent the four corners of the earth. That's why it's fixed, and he says it'll never move. I have over 200 scriptures on a fixed foundation, flat sphere with 7 layers of Tartarus, Sheol, and hell underneath it. A firmament, which is a dome, and above that dome, the 7 expanses of heaven. That is the cosmology. And it's geocentric, not heliocentric, meaning the earth is fixed. But verse 13 says, I'm going to shake it myself. Verse 14, and it shall be as the chased roe, and as a sheep that no man taketh up. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee, every one into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be, see, this is a process, this destruction of this earth. It's not going to just be in a second. It's going to take a little while to purge this entire earth, and people will be trying to escape it. So I hope visually, mentally, you're seeing how this unfolds. They shall every man turn to his own people and flee everyone into his own land. Everyone that is found shall be thrust through, destroyed, killed. And everyone that is joined unto them, these heathens, these Gentiles, them shall fall by the sword. You know who these people are, the ones who don't want to be Israel, who don't want to keep the commandments, want to stay close to Esau and the wickedness of the Gentiles because they love this earth, the pleasures that this earth has to offer. And they've intermarried with them to try to assimilate and become like them. They don't want to let this place go. They're like Lot's wife, which is why Christ said, remember Lot's wife. Listen to this. This sounds cruel, but not as cruel as what's happened to us within the last thousands of years as a people. He said, their children, verse 16, also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. That sounds cruel. I'm going to read something to you real quick in Isaiah 14 chapter. It says, Isaiah 14 and 22 says, Isaiah 14:21, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, meaning the children are going to pay for what their forefathers did to us. They're like always telling you that was 4 generations ago. That was a long time ago. I ain't had nothing to do with slavery. Verse 21, prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, for they do not rise nor possess the land. We got to get rid of them because we need to make sure they don't try to rise up again or possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with their little cities, their wicked cities again. For I will rise up against them, said the Most High of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and remnant and son and nephew, said the Most High. And I will also make it a possession for the bittern and pools of water, and I will sweep it with the broom of destruction, said the Most High of hosts. You got to go. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Verse 16 of Isaiah 13 again. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Oh, recompense is coming, folks. Your reparations are coming. And the wives will be ravished. Behold, I will stir up the Medes, the Persians, Iranians against them. That's why they're scared of Iran getting nuclear weapons, because they're going to be stirred up. They're in Bible prophecy. A lot of these political events are based on the prophecies that they know will be fulfilled, because these people interact with demons, and they know if I'm interacting with demons that Yah, God, and his angels must be real, and there's a spiritual battle going on, and the ultimate war is not World War III, it's the spiritual war and destruction that's coming, which is why they're trying to create bunkers thinking they can escape the destruction of Yah. You are not escaping. We got next. It's over. And you know we're at the end game now. I will stir up the Medes against them, which shall not regard silver. That silver you buying and saving is not going to help you. They will not regard gold. They shall not delight in it. And their bows also shall dash young men to pieces. That means their weapons. No pity on the fruit of the womb. Their eyes shall not spare children. And Babylon, verse 19, which is America and its ways, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees, excellency shall be as when Yah overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. This is what we're seeing now. We're seeing the beginning of sorrows, of the destruction of this place. And I'm cracking up because these Edomites and Esau, these Gentiles, are trying to move to indigenous dark places, Jamaica, Uganda. They don't want to go to Europe. They're trying to move to wherever they think we're going to be, which is why I think the wilderness will be in a hidden place that they can't. Well, I know it'll be in a hidden place that they can't get to, because nobody has access to the wilderness but the children of Israel, all of Israel, and the remnant that sojourn with us, that are going to be purged. We'll see how many come out of the wilderness. So, you could try to flee Babylon as being a wicked Gentile with your millions of dollars out the bank because you're doing bank runs because of the CBDC. You can try to move amongst us, but it's not going to save you. There's a judgment coming for you. You can't escape it. You can't hide in the jungles of Africa and try to blend in with our people. Let's see how that works for you. Verse 20, it shall never, talking about America and Babylon, it shall never be inhabited, neither shall it be dwelt in from generation to generation. Neither shall the Arabian pitch tents there, neither shall the shepherds make their fold there. But wild beasts of the desert shall lie there, and their houses shall be full of doleful creatures, and owls shall dwell there, and satyrs shall dance there. And the wild beasts of the islands shall cry in their desolate houses, and dragons in their pleasant palaces. And her time is near to come, and her days shall not be prolonged. So there's a judgment coming for these people. But this wicked place, which was the everybody wanted to be in this place to think that their dreams could come true. This was their Wizard of Oz. This is where wickedness flowed like water and wine and oil. And we're observing the beginning of the destruction of this place. And these people are trying to run all over the place. It's not going to save you, because wickedness is coming upon the whole, destruction is coming upon the whole earth. But there will be, so you have to remember this. Let me make this clear. Once he pulls the remnant out of the wilderness and puts them in the land of purged out New Jerusalem, there will be a remnant of people that survive that will be living in their nations, which will be more likely over in the east. There'll be nobody in Babylon here, because this is definitely going to be destroyed. And they have to come. The Bible says that they will have to come every Feast of Tabernacles and worship our God, hear our customs, our ways, and hear us preach and teach. Or else they'll be cursed and they'll have no water, no sustenance for the rest of the year. And that's for the wicked that have fled back to their land, that he's going to have mercy on and let them live within the millennial reign, as we live for 1,000 years in peace and prosperity as a nation of Israel, the ones that will come out. So I implore you, brothers and sisters, live holy now. Practice all his ways now. Women, stop with the tight pants and the no head coverings and the Jezebelish ways. Stop it. Men with pride can't be accountable. No checks and balances, no holiness, full of lust, pride of life, lust of the flesh, lust of the eye. Kill it off now. This is the end of times. I don't care if it's a sunny day. I don't care if it's summertime. I don't care if there's a festival or something going on. Don't lose your mind or sense of time of where we are in prophecy. You don't have the luxury to become laxed and take a vacation on Yah. You don't. We don't. You must move forward in this walk. We have to make it until the end. That's the patience of the saints. We must endure until the end, and we must keep fighting, keep preaching, keep teaching, keep encouraging, keep showing our people their wicked ways and their transgressions. Lift up your voice and tell them, keep the blood off your hands, operate and move in love, have true worship, true praise. And let's get in order now. Because many of you, it says that's going to be purged in the wilderness. It's going to be because you still want to eat what you want to eat, dress how you want to dress. You're going to tell the angels of destruction in the wilderness that you don't have to do that, because I didn't do it at my camp. I didn't do it at my church. My teacher, my moray, my preacher, my camp leader, my officer of 50 didn't tell me I had to do it. So why I got to do it now? It's going to be instant destruction. When he said, I'm going to bring you up under the bond of the covenant, when I put you under the rod, he's saying that there'll be no more grace. You're under a rod now. You have to do this. All praises to the Most High. I have nothing else to say in this hour. And I'm going to end by saying what I always say. The only for sure obstacle to truth is to think that you already have it, because truth is a journey, not a destination. Those falling stars just proving that they are amongst us. These fallen angels and demons, and you're looking at them. But don't be afraid, for the Most High has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. They fear you. They fear Israel. They fear those filled with the Ruach HaKadosh. All right, be strong in Yah. Shalom.